Thank you, sir, Chairman and Governor of the session, my Lord. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my intervention in respect of the subject, building systems and institutions that prevent corruption, and mark that word, prevent corruption. And I want to say first that I have serious doubts, historically, globally, whether it is possible to prevent corruption. I have very serious doubts, and when you look globally, I don't know any institution or any nation really that has dismantled her systems, the police, the courts, because they have prevented corruption. So I think my perspective, therefore, is about reducing the incidence of corruption. And that said, for me, I think that it is people who build institutions, and institutions do not build people. But institutions, of course, when properly established, built by people, tend to have the capacity to mold or constrain the way people act. But why this topic now? Because that may concern some people. It's a question I've heard in the morning. It is because the level of corruption has reached proportions where people must react. And yes, I mean, as I said, no society is free of corruption, but where it has reached the unbridled level where $20 billion is alleged to be unaccounted for, and all just seems to be well, and we are carrying on with our lives, and you can't begin to quantify or imagine what $20 billion can do in our lives, then it requires this kind of attention, in my view. That said, I want to address first the notion, and there has been a lot of focus, justifiable focus, on the public sector. Justifiable focus. But I think that there must be equally an equal attention on the private sector. And I want us to beam, it's a question now of values. A society where people spray money and step on money. And I think that's a mindset that raises question. It's not just, this is all you work for. So if you can step on your own sweat, something is wrong. Fundamentally flawed, that we must all re-examine. How did we get to this kind of path? So, and when you look at that society where people's status and social living is incompatible with their known sources of income, and all seems to be well, and people hold weddings and parties that clearly their resources cannot support, something is wrong in that kind of system. There is a leakage somewhere that is paying for that, because it's a system of value. And accounting has only two sides, the expenditure and income side. So if it's all going out and nobody seems to be outraged, and it is costing 50 million naira to hold a wedding, something is wrong in that society. And we are fitting 1,000 people every weekend in parties as if it is a normal thing. The only place that I see Europeans or Americans or whatever fitting is a Nollywood event, a Hollywood Oscar. Otherwise, you have parties for 100 or 50 people who you know. But those are serious issues that I think that we should focus on as we focus on the public sector part of it. And of course, in terms of values, from the leadership side, the idea of political will. When we reward people for work not done, we grant national honor to people who have demonstrated no honor. I can be in one part of the country doing something totally unconnected with what is happening in my state, and I become a palm sec without being at work, and and $20 billion suddenly gets missing, then the police, who should be the ones in charge of securing all of this, actually have their own pockets picked because their own pension is stolen, and all seems to be well. And then, we can't account for $20 billion in the oil ministry, and all seems to just be well. This is the time to begin to talk about it, because really I can't